Contestant number 3, G. Divya Dharshini. What do you see? What do you see? G. Divya Dharshini, contestant number 3.
What do you see when you look in a mirror? Some of you might look and admire the beauty that you see on the mirror and wonder, Aishwarya Rai is lucky that I didn't participate in Miss World. And some others like me find themselves battling against that one single baby hair that just refuses to get tamed. Isn't it? But if you linger long enough, you stare into an abyss, one that reflects not just how you look, but what you believe about yourself. And this mirror has taught me some crucial lessons in my life. When I was in grade 1, my teacher asked me if I'd be interested in administering the pledge in the school assembly. Picture this, the entire school, hundreds of students, and me, a tiny little 6-year-old, saying words that I didn't even fully comprehend. It was scary. But just like any other Indian mother, my mom gave me 2 options. Number 1, you either go and administer the pledge. Or number 2, you go and administer the pledge. So like any other Indian kid, I decided to take up the challenge. She said, go stand in front of the mirror and start practicing, and I did. There I was, tiny me standing tall in front of that humongous mirror, and I started repeating my pledge. And I did that at least over 50 times until the words were etched in my brain. Finally came the day. The pupil leader said, attention, pledge position. I walked up to the stage, I delivered the pledge, and I walked away feeling like a champion. And that day, the mirror taught me how to be confident. It helped me go onto a stage for the first time ever. And a few years later, now I was a teenager. And if I had to describe those years in a word, it would be confusing. Because suddenly you start seeing changes in your body that you didn't sign up for. And one particular evening, I caught myself standing in front of a mirror and I noticed 2 new things about me that I didn't know before. Number 1, my left eye is slightly smaller than my right eye. And secondly, my teeth, they were tiny and have gaps between them. And both these discoveries made me feel uncomfortable. Because suddenly, whenever I had to take a picture, I caught myself standing there with my mouth closed and my lips tightly pressed against each other, and I would smile, but not too much, because I didn't want to exaggerate the flaws in my face. Just like this one. And that day, the mirror showed me things that I didn't want to see. Not my strengths, but my flaws, my weaknesses, which eventually turned into my insecurities. Fast forward a few years, and now I was in college. And if I had one identity that I wore with pride, and that was being a good debater. So naturally, when the college debate competition was announced, I signed up for it excitedly. And I prepared for it like never before. Days I would spend rehearsing and finding the best arguments, the cases, and the evidence. And nights I would spend refining my tones, my pauses, and rebuttals. And finally came the day. And on the day of the competition, I even brought along my own little cheerleader, my 8-year-old nephew. So they called my name. I walked up to the stage, I delivered my points confidently, and I tore apart the rebuttals like fire. And that evening, I again stood in front of the mirror. But this time, there wasn't no trophy in my hand. My name was never called, and I asked myself, was my voice too shaky in the middle? Was my arguments not good enough? Did I not practice well enough? And for the first time ever, I didn't recognize the person that I saw. I didn't see a good debater. I saw a failure. Because the entire life, all the adults that I knew have told me that every person is unique and you have one thing that you're good at. And for me, I thought it was to be a good debater, but not anymore. I stood there as someone who had lost the very identity that defined her. And that's when my nephew came in and he hugged me, and I was too embarrassed to meet this kid. And he said, Chitti, I love you. You were the best and you were amazing. And I stood there confused. Because in my eyes, all I could see was a failure. But through his eyes, he saw someone who had the courage. He saw someone who inspired him and he still loved me the way he used to. And just for a second I thought, if only when I was a teenager I looked at myself, looked at my asymmetries, not as flaws, but marks that made me unique, I would have grown up to be more confident in my own skin. If only when I had lost the debate, I would have looked at myself and said, you showed up when it mattered, and you did your best. I would have felt like a fighter and not a failure. And that's when I realized that all throughout this journey, the mirror never changed. What changed was the story that I told myself. Because remember, there's a mirror that's waiting for you. It never really is about what it shows you, it's about what you see. Tell yourself you're a failure, you lived your life never realizing your true potential. But tell yourself you are worthy, you are capable, and you are ready. And watch how that reflection transforms into your power, transforms into your courage. So tonight when you go home, there's a mirror that's waiting for you. And I'm going to leave you with two options like my mother once did. Look in the mirror and shrink. Or look in the mirror and be proud of the person that you have become. Because remember, the mirror never changes, but you can change what you see. So, what do you see? To the contestant.